Okay, so I'm finally going to get round to looking at this Dell Dimension 3100. As you can see, it's a tower case, this unusual slot in the side for airflow for the processor. It's a Pentium 4 hyperthread, ready for XP. I'm not going to be installing XP on this, I'm going to do something different. Most people tend to try and upgrade these to as high as possible spec so they can use it on the internet, run, play games, or they go the opposite direction and just use it as like a DOS machine. I'm not going to do either. I'm going to do something that I don't think many people are doing at the moment, but more on that later. So anyway, as you can see on the back, there's not many ports. There's just your sound card bits, 4 USB, a network port and a graphics card. There is a video capture card in this. I am going to be taking it out and giving it back to the previous owner. I don't think I'm going to need to use that. On the side, this side lid comes off and we can see inside the machine, and what we have is a Pentium 4 processor beneath this heatsink. We have serial ATA drives down here, which is rather nice because obviously that means it can support large hard drives. I'm probably going to need large hard drives. We've got our 5 1/4 slots at the top. This has just got a CD-ROM burner. There's a place underneath. I might put something else in there. And there's a place for a floppy drive. It doesn't have a floppy drive at the moment, but I'm probably going to put like a GoTech or something like in there. The motherboard itself doesn't have many bits and bobs. It's just got 2 PCI, one of them presently taken up with this Hallpark TV capture card. As say, I'm taking that out anyway. But there's also a PCI Express card. So I'm going to use that to put a Wi-Fi card in. It's already got onboard network, but I'm going to put a Wi-Fi card in because this office I use doesn't have Ethernet. I only use Wi-Fi, so even though it's slightly slower when I'm talking from one machine to another, it's got to be better than trying to run Ethernet wires here, there and everywhere. There's a couple of sticks of memory at the top. They're only 256 meg RAMs, giving me half a gig. It would be perfectly sufficient for the operating system I'm going to install, but I am going to upgrade this to 2 gig because why not? It takes it. It's cheap as chips memory, so it seems the right thing to do. Dirt wise, yeah, it's pretty dusty in places, so I'm going to do my atypical, take it apart, give it a clean up, try and do something with the front case. It's got some pretty manky scuff marks on there. I'm probably going to get the old magic sponge out and take it from there. So the next part of this video will probably see this machine in pieces, giving it a clean up. No doubt when I put it back to together I'll have an issue, but we'll resolve that as we go along. So I'll catch you on the flip side once this is all apart. Okay, so I've stripped the case to pieces. I'm actually quite impressed with the way that it's built. There's lots of unique little clips and brackets that make this just that little bit better quality than your standard beige box. Some unique power supply. You've got your Molexes coming out of one bit and you've got the ATX coming out of another. I'm sure a standard power supply would work, but routing the cable around might be a bit tight in the case, which is potentially why this power supply is like the way it is. So motherboard, again, fairly proprietary. I like this sort of 45-degree processor slot. As I said earlier, just 2 PCIs, 1 PCI Express, and then it's got the usual bits and bobs, serial ATA, floppy drive, IDE, etc. Half a gig of memory, as I mentioned earlier. Serial ATA hard drive, normal IDE DVD RAM. That's the capture card I'm taking out. There's this quite funky heatsink and fan assembly that all goes together. You can see it's all covered in dust, it will need a clean out. That's the front USB takeoff. That's the front cover itself. Pretty dirty, going to need a clean. But the case itself isn't actually too bad. It's just going to need a bit of a dust and a wipe over. So I'll try and do a video of reassembling as opposed to this quick jump to oh, it's all in pieces.
Well, that didn't quite go to plan. I didn't realise the Camry batteries had gone flat. Well, in the meantime, you've missed all the video of me building this up. I don't suppose you've missed anything, quite frankly, but you know, the machine's back together. So the original serial ATA drive is in, but I've now added a 1 gig serial ATA card, drive even. I've also added the Wi-Fi card that I said I was going to add But I also decided I didn't want to use the onboard sound on this, so I've stuck in a Sound Blaster Augity PCI card just to have a bit of fun. I've booted this up. You can presently see I've got Windows XP running, which just so happened to be what was on this drive when this machine came to me. It is actually a really well made machine. I love all the little clips and functions they've got for holding things in place. Especially like the way they've mounted the hard drive. It's only mounted on 4 screws, but there is little clips that hold it in the case so that you can do this one-handed. You haven't got to hold it in place and pick a screw up with a screwdriver whilst you screw things in. Simple little things that make all the difference. I haven't clipped up all of these cables to their original places, but they included all these little things to hold all your cables in place away from everything. Someone's put a lot of thought into this. I knew that the original Dell Optiplexes with their little flip open case lids and everything plastic, no screws, was a really good design, but I didn't realise in their later machines, like this Pentium 4 version, they've actually tried to be what you would almost call professional and industrial. So big on them. It's all gone together very smoothly, very easily. It is exactly how it should be. So, as I said earlier in the video, I was going to put a different operating system on this, not what you would have expected this to have. So, it is running Windows XP, as you can see. A lot of people would say, oh, maybe you could put Vista or Windows 7 or Windows 8 or give it a try with Windows 10. But the plan for this machine is actually really to use this as a bit of a server. Hence me putting the terabyte drive in. I've started running out of disk space for drivers and operating systems, so I just thought, well, I've got this machine, it's serial ATA, I've got the drive, why not use it? I don't have to go out and buy a NAS drive. So operating system doesn't need to be modern, it doesn't need to be cutting edge, it almost doesn't need to be secure because it's going to be internal network only. Some people would say, well, you could have just put like Windows 95, Windows 98, but then you've got all the memory addressing issues with 512 meg memory, and as I said earlier, I potentially wanted to go upwards towards 2 gig. I really don't fancy breaking up a 1 terabyte drive into 2 gig partitions. I could be there forever. So the natural choice for me is Windows 2000. I'm a big fan of Windows 2000. I know it's not the latest, greatest, newest thing on the planet, and I know it has its Foyboys, but for me, Windows 2000 was a nice, clean operating system that supported modern technologies and gave you some of the benefits that you got in 9X machines for playing some of the earlier games. Not that I'm planning to run the games on this machine, but I really do fancy putting something different on. So Windows 2000 it's going to be. The advantage I've also got with this machine is that I have the restore disk, which comes with Windows 2000 and XP drivers. So I've got all the drivers for this machine, and I've also got the various drivers that go with the Wi-Fi card and the sound card. So software wise, getting me to a base operating system, I think I'm going to be fairly well sorted.
Okay, so operating system is fully installed. It's taken a number of hours, mainly because I've done all the service packs. The last job is underway at the moment, which is formatting the terabyte drive. I had to do the registry hack because the first install of Windows, which was pre-service pack 1, didn't include 48-bit LBA support, so I've had to hack the registry for that. A couple of reboots later, I'm now seeing the terabyte drive. It's listed as 931 gigabyte, and it's just formatting that. It's at 2%. I expect this is going to take a number of hours, but obviously I'm not going to video that. On the whole, everything has installed itself exactly as I wanted. Graphics drivers are in, sound card drivers are in, sorted the desktop out, cleaned up all the applications that aren't required. So this is a nice simple base machine, reasonable amount of performance. It's going to have a lot of hard drive storage, which I'm going to need, and that's about that for this machine. So thank you very much for watching. I know I ramble on a lot. If you like what you see, press the like button, make some comments. I'm always up for hearing what people think. I make these videos all the time now, but I don't seem to get a lot of comments, so I don't know if people like what they see or they don't like what they see.